So we've learned how to select a row and a column from a data frame. How do we select a cell? So we use iloc, and then we pass it a row and a column. So let's go ahead and run this. So this is 0, 0, column 0, and row 0. So if we go up here, column 0 is pregnancies, and row 0 is row 0. So that should be a 6. So let's make sure that that's correct. Okay, so it gives us a 6. The next one is row 0, column 1. Okay, row 0, column 1. Remember that Python is 0 based, so pregnancies is column 0, glucose is column 1. So it should be 148. And let's make sure it's 148. And then finally, this last one is row 1, column 0. So row 1, column 0 is pregnancies, so it should be a 1. And it is a 1. Okay, so now you know how to select a row, how to select a column, and how to select a single cell. Now, here's how to return a data frame. So you see when we did this before, okay, we get this type of display. Okay, so this is not a data frame. Sometimes we want to have a data frame, and the way that we do it is that we use double brackets. Okay, so this is now a data frame. So let's run that, and you see that this returns a data frame. If we want to return a data frame with 2 columns, we just put those 2 columns in the double brackets. Okay, so this is now how you can select out pieces of the data from your data set. And what you could do, of course, is that you can just set this to be equal to some other variable, and then you now use df2 throughout your analysis. So this is something that would be common to do at the beginning of an analysis, right? You say, here are the columns I want, here are the columns I want to drop, I just select the right ones. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how to filter the rows. So let's say that I only want to look at the people with diabetes, the rows with diabetes. Here's how I do it. So the first thing I do is I create this boolean. So df outcome equals 1. What that does is it returns a 1 or a 0 for each row. It's a 1 if its outcome is equal to 1, that is to say the boolean is true, and it's a 0 if it's false. And then I pass this to df, and what that does is that it selects out all of the rows. So if it's 0, it's not selected. If it's 1, it is selected. And so if I run this, you'll see I get rows 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay? These are all the ones in which outcome equals 1. So you see over here, outcome always equals 1. So now I'm filtering down the data set as I'm doing analysis. Okay? Filtering down the data set as I'm doing analysis. Okay? You can do all sorts of different types of booleans. So let's say that we want to filter rows by skin thickness greater than 30. Here I ask for skin thickness greater than 30. Pass it to df. Okay, I set my variable, and then I show it. So let's make sure that skin thickness is always greater than 30. So you see that skin thickness is greater than 30. And of course, you can just chain these together in a variety of ways. One is just by assigning a new variable and then doing a single boolean for each variable. Or you can actually combine them together. Okay? So if you did this exercise here with greater than 100 and glucose less than 130, one thing you could do is you could put them both in a single line, or you could have 2 lines. The first line chooses the ones that are greater than 100, and then from that variable choosing the ones that are less than 130. Now, what happens if you want to select, say, all of the people who have pregnancies 0, 1, or 2? One thing you could do is you could do pregnancies greater than or equal to 0 and then less than or equal to 0. But there's this fun keyword called isIn, which will simply select the things, return a 1, where the pregnancies are 0, 1, or 2, and 0 otherwise. So this will select that. So let's make sure that pregnancies are 0, 1, and 2, and here are the pregnancies that are 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so we're going to continue looking at many other features and ways of looking at the data inside of a data frame.